Welcome back, one and all, to the second half of the Siege of Middenheim. Glad you all could be here. 2 more hours to go. Hope you all are excited. Go ahead and rid of this. Bye. And see what our crew's been up to.
Gut reaction things. Maybe he's right. It's always, how do I prove that fucker wrong?
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I've just been super busy and haven't been able to watch. But I'm like trying to grab a list because I know I'm probably going to watch Gamers. I've seen that that one might be a good one to watch as well.
The Gamer?
Gamers, with an exclamation point. I don't know. It's about a girl who gets out of school and then goes to a company and starts working for a gaming company.
Oh, New Game.
Oh, that's what I'm thinking of.
That was a pretty good one, to be honest. It's a little bit more.
I forgot what Gamers was about.
It's a little bit more shoujo ai.
Yeah.
Like a lot of girl on girl relationships, but not really
You mean Yuri?
No, it's not that far. How would I describe it? It's like seeing those two girlfriends that are a little bit too close.
Okay.
To where you're kind of like, are they together? Are they not? Should I make a move? Should I not?
Yeah.
And then twice this happened to me. This happened to me twice where I've been hitting on a girl, and then they go, "Oh, you're so great. Let me introduce you to my girlfriend." I'm like, "Shit."
See, that's not happened with me. So,
I'm sorry, this is the best conversation ever.
You have no idea how many lesbians I've hit on.
I don't think I want to, but thank you for that information.
So, now I know your type, Jackson. Obviously, it's lesbians. You and Farron would have a great conversation about that. It's so disappointing that Will's not here.
He is. He's just muted so that he doesn't rage on us.
By the way, I will still always forever love that. I kept on egging him on to do it. Just
yeah, that's great. I know.
Oh God! And then it was funny. He told me in the beginning.
Yep. Yeah, it's great. I know. See, Megan knew as well. So.
What's really funny is that I just looked to the side when I was talking to somebody else when I said that.
Mm-hmm. So. But is everyone back?
Yes, welcome back, everyone. Glad you all could be here.
Shit.
So I know that there's probably a lot to do in the immediate aftermath of the battle. But who thinks that they have something pertinent that we can talk about?
I want to go find Cahill.
Yeah, let me just lay down the situation. Okay. The Southgate and bridge are yours. So forces are pouring across the South Gate. The army is essentially moving into the city at this point as fast as they're able. In addition, the quicker moving entities like the Scout and the Lizardman Scouts are going to move back to make sure that the East Gate is secured properly.
Mm.
So,
okay. That
being said, the group of you has you have a moment's reprieve here to take stock of the battle, take stock of yourselves, what happened, etc., etc. Hannibal, you said you're going to head off, try and fight the swelling crowds and head back towards the the tents and stuff, or are you gonna wait for Cahill to enter?
He muted himself.
Oh, okay, good. Anyone else? Okay,
I'm here. Sorry, wanted to turn off my bathroom light. So yeah, I want to find Cahill before it starts because I want to give him that head, something to kind of. He may have gotten injured, so that might have hurt his pride a little bit. But if he has a general's head, then it might give him something, a little bit more of a credit boost.
Might be happier.
I feel good. Pendant.
Here's the thing: I'm banking on Cahill's success because
Amazing.
His success is your success.
Pretty much at this point, because I'm going to be maybe posting a question on him later on.
There you go.
Gross. So, I was just separating everyone into their respective groups. So you're going to try and push back through the crowds and get to where Cahill is and deliver the head to him. I think that
give him something like a rallying thing.
Yeah, I think that that you're given decent berth. Obviously, like there's a lot of like soldiers like trying to cross the bridge all at a rapid pace, and so like you're kind of on one side, but people that recognize you will like dart out of the way and but it's slow going to get across the bridge.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, what about everybody else? Does anyone else find that to be pertinent to maybe go with Hannibal, or are there other matters to attend to?
Cree does need to meet back up with Cahill. It seems very important. Give him a situation on the cavalry inside the city.
Okay. So you would.
Aelin's got a lot of dead and dying. She's gonna try to make a hospital for.
Yeah, and maybe even you going and meeting up with your hospital people might be a good idea.
Trying to locate where they are currently. Yes.
Yeah, I mean they're probably at the back, but maybe locating them, or perhaps even.
I feel like even setting stuff up so that when they get there, it can more easily be.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, so maybe finding like an appropriate area would be something that you would be doing.
Yep.
Cool. Jericho and Baron.
Seeing as how I'm now the commander of a bear unit, I'm going to help them and just help with Middenheim.
You have control of your bear now, by the way.
Thank you. And administer some first aid and sort of reorganize the ranks.
Cool. Yeah, absolutely. What about you, Morel? Yes, please give the bear a name.
I mean, it wasn't originally my bear, so...
Probably does have a name, to be fair.
It feels a bit impertinent to just name it. When
perhaps I thought you knew what its name was.
You and your pesky morality.
Yeah, it's what a shame to have. But I suppose I think Morel is just gonna like walk through and like seeing like probably attend to like the injured alongside Farron's bear riders and attempt to help in any way she can, even though she is tired herself. But she does what she can.
Okay, cool. And what about you, Jericho?
Yeah, Jericho's feeling a little bit scattered at the moment. He's been heavily focused on trying to just get the initial infiltration going. He's a little concerned that he hasn't heard from Mel lately, but no idea where to find her. Where is my friendly prisoner necromancer?
Yeah, so it probably wouldn't be too hard to find her, but she's not like with you, even though she is on the screen. And probably like after a moment of like wandering around, she's probably like digging in the entrails of one of the like the creatures. And you can see she's like pulling out like pieces of bits of bone and like tossing them aside and like just seemingly nonchalantly, and she's probably like being given a wide berth by the people that are kind of coming into the city at this point.
A woman after my own heart.
Whatever makes her happy. Yeah, I want to keep an eye on her and see if he can find somebody who's got like the next concern that he has is he wants to see who he can. There's a word that is escaping me here. He tried to send scouts out to keep an eye out for his necromancer nemesis, who probably doesn't know or has never seen him, but Jericho feels he's his nemesis.
Right.
He's been trying to He's been trying to send scouts out for that. He was suspicious that he might show up somewhere around the park. So I think he'd like to try to reintegrate himself into whatever kind of city intelligence reconnaissance network we have now as the armies are reuniting.
Okay,
Indeed.
cool. Yeah, so you want to like maybe like go off on a scouting mission kind of into the city.
Well, maybe not even into. Well, potentially he wouldn't want to just take off without conferring with the others
Gotcha.
first, but he'd like to find out what we know about the state of the city because he has been kind of busy for the last couple of hours on
Yeah.
well with the two specific gates.
Yeah.
So he wants to find out what we know about what else is going on.
Not dying was the important part.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that you could certainly make that happen. But I want to jump back to Hannibal and Morella, who are like pushing their way back, and Kree, I guess, who are pushing their way back into the where Cahill is saying. So I think that as the three of you make your slow kind of trot across the bridge, because again it's rough going with like all of the thousands of forces trying to move across. Noct is probably like acting as like an icebreaker in the front, like pushing people aside, and then the two of you are kind of following in close behind. And you make it kind of to the rear where it's starting to thin out a little bit, where like some of the merchants and some of the like traders and civilians are starting to like come across. They're much easier to kind of navigate around. And I think you see that the big giant tent is still set up kind of like down a little ways from the bridge. It hasn't been like torn down yet. Everything else is like been torn down and is like being moved at this time, but the big giant tent for Cahill is still there.
Okay.
So the three of you proceed to that, and when you get there, you're recognized obviously by the guards, and one of the guards sticks her head in, and she introduces the three of you as coming in, and the three of you walk in, and you see that there's not the traditional like table with the map and the big chair up on the head of the table, and the other chairs lined up around it, and like the candle holders are still like kind of around the room, and there's probably still like a dresser, but instead there's like a makeshift like gurney that's been kind of strewn up on top of the table where it would be, and it's kind of like cleared out of the side, and you see Hale's like kind of like resting there, and I think the immediate kind of tone that you see with him is he looks agitated, and he's probably like arguing with one of his lieutenants or whatever. Or actually no, he's probably arguing like with the maester that's there, and like you probably hear him say, I'm perfectly fine, yes, just let me up, I can't be here any longer, we must move into the city immediately. And the maester's like, no, sire, you must stay here, it is unsafe for you to be moving around, you've lost a lot of blood, we still have not stopped the bleeding completely. He's like, no, I'll be fine. And he like goes to sit up and like kind of winces in pain a little bit and sees you, and immediately kind of like puts on a smile and stretches his arms out from his sitting position. He says, friends and generals, how glorious it is to see you on this day of our victory. Tell me, what news do you bring? Speak quickly.
Well, first of all, I know you might not be feeling 100% right now, so I brought you a gift. And I raised the head. This is the general of one of the devils that fought on the bridge.
Yeah, and I think his eyes kind of sparkle a bit, and he says, yes, we shall plant it on a spear and put it out in front of our lines. It will inspire the men and women to fight even harder, that they can be felled, these foul beasts. Good work.
And also, I'd like you to give you reports about what happened on the North Bridge.
Yes.
And then I basically info dump that the whole fight. I set off a bomb, and then I mentioned very casually, nobody should ever cross that side of Mordheim again.
Middenheim.
Middenheim again.
Yeah, and you can see his face kind of like darkens, and he nods kind of grimly, and he says, "We do what we must, I guess. Yes, we do what we must.
Yes.
Probably
On the
best
bright
in the
side.
situation."
We have slain an avatar of Zinch.
Avatar, you say? That is
That's
most...
what it was, right?
Yeah, that's what you understand it to be.
Okay.
He says, "That is most glorious indeed. I would like to hear recounting of that battle in detail, but for another time, we must plan and make our next move quickly. And of you,
Yes.
Lady Fairheart, tell me,
Yes.
speak, woman. Do you have a report as well?"
Hannibal has I was with Hannibal on the North Gate, and well, I was in the midst of the battle with the South Gate as well, and well, the East has been rebuilt.
Yes, a glorious act. We've had some scouts report that they were able to cross over a bridge of light. Truly a wonder I must behold soon, but for now, it is moving onward. We must retake the city as swiftly as possible. Destroy the leadership so that the demons may not enter the city any longer. And you, Kree, tell me, your mission to the West Gate, it was successful.
Yes, quite a few losses, but reasonable considering what was done.
You and your people have my condolences. Sorry for your losses. But I believe that none others could have done it except for you.
There's great pride for the Lizardmen, and the Bears for that matter.
Certainly. Our allies to the north in Kislev will be proud to hear that. I will meet with their leadership when I am able.
Are you still wounded?
'Tis only a scratch.
Let me see it.
Yeah, and I think,
I would also like to join
I
Morella
think
and
that
trying to see what that is.
he probably kind of like pulls back and probably like pulls up his robes a little bit and like kind of covers his shoulder.
Dun, dun,
Um,
dun, dun.
And he
Fucking will.
he says "Ah, it is nothing, I promise. It is nothing. Nothing that the Meister cannot heal, correct?" And then the Meister kind of like looks and like, "Yes, sire, but you do need..." And like Kale just like bowls over him, right? And he's like, "Very well. I say that perhaps we should get to our feet. If I could simply just make it to my mount. Gladys, can you fetch my mount, please?" And you see the guard that like introduced you like pokes her head in and just nods and goes off to get his horse.
Jordan, real
Yeah.
quick. With I went up to Morella to take a look with it. Would I be able to make a medicine check to figure out?
He didn't allow you to look at it, was what I was describing there.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. He was like, he kind of like pulled back and like pulled up his robe so you couldn't look at it. He's
I
trying
thought you
to.
meant that he pulled up his robe to show it.
Oh no! Pulled up his robes to hide it. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
He's like insistently putting on like the strong face, right? Like, no, I'm fine. I'm not injured. It's fine. Like the future emperor can't be seen in pain, right?
Can I just say, Gail, could you please? We might be able to help. Can I try to persuade him?
You could try. It's gonna be hard, man. He has a lot of pride.
I'm going to use my inspiration.
Uh-huh. I'm looking real high here. Don't
Okay,
think a
so
12
that's
is
not
going
high
to
at
do it.
all.
Fuck.
Yeah,
I have a
and
+9.
yeah, I think he just like looks at you and he just like he rests a hand on his shoulder and kind of grips you, and his grip strength seems pretty firm still. And he says, "Hannibal, I promise I am fine. We have much greater things to attend to. You spoke of losses, Kree. We must see to them. They are in far more dire straits than I am from a simple arrow wound. We shall be fine." And he kind of like he gets up and like he braces himself against the edge of the bed and kind of like slides onto the floor, and you can see he has to like steel himself, but he takes a deep breath and exhales and relaxes, and you see the muscles like in his body kind of relax. And he looks up and he nods and he says, Very well. We will be off now. And he begins kind of like a slow walk outside.
As we're leaving, I'm going to send Puck out to find Aelin.
Of course.
You mean Dane?
I'm sorry, Dane.
Puck's super dead, so I mean, I knew who you meant.
Shut the fuck up
Savage.
about that.
Savage Freudian slip right there.
I'm going to send Dane out to try to find Aelin.
I mean, he's clearly the better familiar, if we're being fair.
You know, I don't need you talking shit about Puck right now.
Hey, listen!
I loved her.
I'm not sure that you did. I don't think anyone in this current voice chat would agree
I
with
should
that.
rephrase that. Hannibal didn't like anybody. Jackson loved her.
There we go. That's better. So as we see Dane kind of, flutter over the cityscape, it's a great time perhaps to go over to Aelin and Daniela, who are making the rounds, setting things up. And I think, Farron, you mentioned too that you were going to start helping with wounded and getting reorganized and stuff. So maybe the three of you are together at this point.
Yeah, after I've counted the numbers, I kind of say to the fairly uninjured bear riders to rest whilst we recuperate with the main army and take the more heavily injured to the hospital I can see being built in the distance.
It's literally like any of the 4X games, right? Where it's literally being built. Like, you can see the struts going up, and she found a plot of land that had enough space, and she gathered all the wood and stone, and now it's there's a bunch of workers that are assembling the building, like all of the RTS games.
There's construction sounds that just loop while it's building.
Yeah, just like the random saw, even though they don't exist in whatever in whatever RTS, the random saw and hammer, even though those are not the tools that they would be using. Yeah.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah. Canon. So you send the injured bear riders over, and Aelin, so you need to try and find a valid place, perhaps.
Yeah, I need to find a suitable building or buildings or even sheltered area, ?
Right.
Because I know these buildings are fucked up, and it might actually be dangerous to be putting them inside some of them.
Yeah, for sure. And also, right here at the site of the battle, there's probably still holdouts of the demons and stuff, right? They're still being hunted down by the army marching into the city, and
right. So perhaps maybe just in the middle of the street might be the best.
Yeah, and that's actually what I was going to mention.
Currently.
So you could try and move a whole bunch of injured up to the market district, which has some more open areas and more laid out plots of land. But the South District, the Southgate District, and the Wind are very kind of tightly packed. They don't have a lot of big buildings. There's not a good place where you can house a couple hundred injured people and animals, unfortunately. So it is probably gonna have to be open air until you can find a more suitable place. I mean, the ideal place would be the temple, right? Taking back Ulrich's temple would be.
Yeah, or even the park.
Right, yeah, or the park, or over here, this park, if you took the Westgate district, yeah, there's obviously much better areas, and there's not going to be a great area here. So, perhaps you are set up in the middle of the street, or at the crossroads, somewhere right here where this main road comes out in the middle. So Farron leads a bunch of injured bear riders over there, and you make contact with him for the first time since this whole thing started. Is there any exchange between the two of you? Farron is also injured, by the way.
Yeah, so I think Aelin treats it as if any other patient has walked up to her. I think she's in such a state of emergency that she doesn't even recognize him at first. She's not even looking at faces anymore, I don't think. I think she's literally just looking at a person, assessing injuries, and shuffling them off into a direction.
Right.
So I almost feel as unless Farron makes some sort of legitimate effort to be hey, Aelin, hey, it's me. Hello? I almost don't even think that she would make that make that connection.
Yeah, she's like, oh, you're only
Yeah.
minorly injured. That row of tents over there will help you
Yeah,
out.
she's
Next.
like, okay, it looks like you have a scratch and maybe a dislocated. Okay, so over there to the left. Yeah. I think that's kind of what's going on.
Nice to see you too, Aileen.
You have the sniffles.
You're uninjured. Why are you not helping? Yeah, so I guess if you say that, Aelin would kind of look up and, oh my gosh, Farron, how are you? You clearly have, hold on, let me, and then she like more avidly starts to help you instead of just pointing you in a direction.
I see you're going to be having a busy time over here.
Yes, there's certainly a lot to do. How does this hurt? Is it hurt right here? And she's like poking you.
Ow.
Like, okay, yes, that's what I thought. All right, hold on. If you could just move over here, and she's like kind of like dragging you slightly towards a place to sit. Also, she probably like looks over your shoulder like at the people with you and kind of like gestures to follow towards other.
Yeah, there's also like a bear that's kind of just like idly looking around that stands behind Farron now.
I'm not a vet, but I could sure give it a try.
Yes. This is Bernard.
Do you just have a bear now? Like, have you written him down in your inventory?
I'm pretty sure I do. Yes.
Oh my god, I love it. Although, isn't it a female bear? Did we say it was a female bear? It doesn't matter. Sorry.
It's Bernadette.
Bernadette. Yes.
I actually didn't determine that, so it could be Bernadette or Bernard, whichever one you prefer.
I think I like Bernadette.
Okay, there you go, Bernadette.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. I am now apparently the leader of this group of bear riders, so that's the thing.
That's incredible. How did that come to be? I'm sure it's quite a long story. You don't have to go into it right now, but
Yes.
that's incredible.
As usual, you bandage things up well. Well, I'm still an extra pair of hands, and we have time until the forces move out. So, how about I give you a hand over here?
Oh, yes, that would be much appreciated. Here, they'll tell you where to go. I just kind of like point over my shoulder.
Yeah. So you could make some active rolls here. You kind of did your like in combat first aid. Obviously that was incredible. And saved like a bunch of people just like immediately. But I think that there's probably some room for some other medicine, like another medicine check here.
Okay.
Or actually perhaps like since you crit your medicine check, I think I don't want to take that away.
Can I make an animal handling check to see if I can?
Yeah, that seems good. Yeah, absolutely. Let's make an animal handling check.
I clearly got a handle on the people, I think, according to the other role. But maybe I could try to heal some of the bears. Yeah.
With me helping and the owner of Bernadette, who's the leader.
You can't own bears.
In the
Fair.
bear.
That's rude. You can't own bears.
It's a living thing.
They are people too. Okay.
Bear lives matter. Okay.
As I'm the current rider of the noble and grand leader of the bears in this bear rider group, is that more appropriate?
Yeah, seems
That's
better.
more PC. Congratulations.
Yeah. So why don't you make a? Go ahead.
I was just say, like Kira and Molir are there now. They may have more experience with this than Farron does.
True. They are probably there at this point.
True.
But yeah, so Aelin, if you want to make I think with advantage here, there's obviously a lot of people to help out with this.
Okay.
But make an animal handling check.
Not bad, not great.
Yeah, so I think that it's just out of your control. Not so much that you failed or didn't get a great roll. I think it's just mostly out of your control. You're gonna have to rely upon others to kind of take that wing of things in this particular scenario. And allow their kind of natural ability and knowledge to kick in there. But
the shot.
for Farron as well, like you probably have stepped into trying to help to like conduct the people, because as we know, Aelin, that's always been the thing that Aelin struggles with. Is
I
like
try to do it all myself.
right, yeah, is like telling people where to go, and like you probably noticed that she's so focused on other things. She's like, okay, you go over there, and then you see the person just kind of like stand there with like part of their arm hanging off, like I don't know what to do anymore. Like, so can you make me a charisma check of some sort here? What kind of charisma check? What though? That is the true question.
Performance to orchestrate the assignment of each.
Yeah, maybe performance. Yeah, let's do performance. Holy shit.
The
Fuck me.
productivity has just shot through the roof because now Aelin can actually do her best job. Which is
Yeah,
to heal.
exactly.
True story.
Exactly. Like, Aelin, you don't even have to tell people where to go anymore. Farron just, like, has taken over that.
Yeah, they're just being directed towards me now. I don't even have to say anything.
Right. Yeah,
Is
exactly.
it bad that I'm thinking of like Farron being like fucking like an airplane like director, just
Flight
like
attendant?
yeah,
Straight
Yeah,
up, but-
exactly.
Yep.
but
Yeah.
going to like a YMCA theme.
So Daniela forced me
'Cause
to
he's the
wear
one
a
singing it.
nurse's outfit.
Oh
Just-
God, I hope so. Yeah.
Daniela gets anime shark face. And, yeah, probably puts a little hat on you. And also on Bernadette.
Oh my God, so cute.
As they're surrounded by
That
many
took
demon
a-
bodies.
Death
That's a
and
good turn.
destruction. It's fine.
You gotta laugh every now and then, right? Otherwise, you'll lose your sanity.
Or else you'll start crying.
Yep. Or that, correct. Great, awesome. So the triage portion for the two of you is going quite well. With the assistance of Farron, like being able to actually direct people, and Aelin to be able to heal and triage people, it's going quite well indeed. So moving on to Jericho. So when I do kind of want to like when you first walk up on Silny, who's your little
Right,
Padawan here, and she's just like again like just digging through a carcass. Do you say anything to her to start out with?
Honestly, nothing's coming to mind that doesn't seem like it's asking for trouble. But I suppose he may as well. Yeah, he'll approach and just say, "Are you looking for anything particular in there, or just taking stock?"
Some materials are useful. Don't know which ones until I see how damaged they are. Lots of bodies to go through.
God, I love this woman.
They could never meet. Any particular use that you're planning to put those to? I feel like anything that you're acquiring from the bodies of demons is likely to be magic that's going to unsettle most of the other people anywhere, really. At all, anywhere.
She kind of like looks and she goes, "Oh, is this one of those things that is what you don't wish me to do while I am in captivity?"
I mean, honestly, she's digging through demon corpses, right? Or are
Yeah.
these people?
No,
Yeah.
the demon corpses.
Honestly, I don't think people are going to care too much about the bodies of fiends like this, but depending on what you're planning to do with the parts that you recover, that might be a little less comfortable. And there's a sudden strain in Jericho's mind as he realizes that the person who is most likely able to best assess whether there's anything particularly dangerous about what she's doing, or at least keep an eye on her practices, is Hannibal, whom she must never be allowed to meet.
Correct.
I need other
Introduce me to my new disciple / wife.
I need other warlock friends.
I don't think that sentence has literally ever been uttered in the history of Dungeons and Dragons.
Well, not in Warhammer.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's
Not
true.
Introduce me to my wife, please.
I'm sure I'm gonna have to do it sooner or later, but Jericho's gonna hold out hope for now that somehow there's another way through this.
There
Just
is
mention her
not.
to Morella first. She'll take him for real quick.
Uh,
But yeah, she kind of like she stands up from what she's doing, and she like kind of shakes her hands, but you can see that she like casts prestidigitation and like cleans her hands as she's shaking it, but does like the motion of
yeah,
like
shake it off.
shake it off. And she kind of like rubs them together, and she says, "Also, interesting. Not been involved in many large battles. Is that how they normally go? One side decimates another."
Ideally, yes, but well, I suspect that before all the business is done in this city, you're going to see a few more of those. If we're lucky, they'll be like that. If not, things are going to get messier and somewhat more panicked.
Indeed. We should burn all the bodies. We do not want them use it against us, if it is truly us.
Fair point. Nothing else that you would recommend that people scavenge from them for any purpose?
If they wish to take hearts, that would be useful.
Does Jericho have any idea what the use of demon hearts might be? Because it sounds bad.
I know.
Yeah, nothing good is certainly the answer to that question.
Hannibal knows. They're used for fun.
But yeah, they can be used in like ritualistic magic and
yeah.
But I think that she probably elaborates just a little bit, and she says,
Good.
she says, "Well, if it is possible that they don't burn quite as well, being demons, usually naturally resistant to fire, but also they contain essence." And she's like searching for a word, like she doesn't know how to say it. Like she only speaks Elvish, right? But she doesn't like know how to really like. It probably translates into like life force in common, but it's like a weird Elvish term for it.
Okay.
And she says, many sorcerers, wizards can use this against us.
Fire. Good recommendation. See, already you're helping. This is how you win friends.
She just like blank stares you.
Yeah, that's okay. She'll get over it. Well, I'm about to go try to investigate what else is going on in the city. I don't suppose that prior to our crossing paths, you had heard anything about any great rituals that were going to be calling for significant numbers of people or a great deal of materials.
We were called to meet over at the temple, but we did not go. That's why we responded to, well, me and those two others that you slain, responded to the East Gate.
Why didn't you go?
She just kind of shrugs, and she probably says, "It sounded boring."
I don't suppose you can tell me what it was that you're being called to meet for?
Sometimes they call all the spellcasters together, bring them all in, and talk to them about new magics or new things that we will see, perhaps have to control.
Oh my god, professional development for wizards.
I was just say it's like PD.
It is, it's a professional
Oh my
development. Okay. That sounds like information that some important people are going to want to hear about. So, how about you come with me and I win you some good favor with my people?
For instance, Hannibal would like to hear about it.
Oh god, no.
I think she just shrugs.
Yeah, okay. Jericho then will try to bring Silny with him to try to find um,
Find who?
Cahill.
What? Where?
Cahill, thank God. Cahill and other associate leaders. See, I was struggling to not call him Kalen.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
This is what you've done. Okay, yeah, Jericho needs to go find Cahill and anybody else who's got some significant pull in our allied military.
Yeah, like the council, right? Like any members of the council, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
So as you like turn to leave, I think you hear like a dull squishing sound. And you turn back around, and Silny has like pulled out a dagger. You don't even know where she got it from. And she's like stabbed through the head of this thing that is now like wriggling on the ground. And she just kind of like looks at you and she says, "What?"
Sorry, I thought we were going. Was that one not dead, or are you just harvesting?
She, like-
skips a beat.
She pulls the dagger out and she kind of like looks at it. She looks at the like blood on it. She holds it up to the sun, and you can see like you can actually see as she does that it like slowly is evaporating. And she goes, "This is good." And she like wipes off the blade and sheathes it again, and then follows you.
Uncomfortable. Okay, I really feel like we're beginning to connect.
Hannibal wants to connect a little more.
The best part is going to be Jericho attempting to translate how she's going to speak to all of these people. That's going to be the best part.
Yeah. Yeah, that's gonna be great.
So, Jericho, you begin heading back with Silny to meet up with Cahill and all of the respective leaders that you can find. Of which the council will probably be collected quite quickly, somewhere in like just inside the gates.
Yeah.
So yeah, it won't be too hard to locate that. But as you pass through the like where Farron and Aelin are, you probably see the two of them like working. Do you exchange pleasantries as you pass through?
To the extent that, I mean, he doesn't want to interrupt them or spark too many questions yet, but he will want to confirm that they're alive and they know he's alive and he's off to meet with the council.
Yeah, so like Aelin, you're probably working on like a pretty dire case at the moment. And I think like the small elven girl or half elven girl like appears before you, and she kind of like looks down at the person in front of you, and you don't speak Elvish, so you can't understand her. But Jericho, you hear Silny say, "This one is already dead."
Yeah, Jericho's response to that will just be to say, "That's the that's the priestess's specialty. Don't worry about it." And then sort of shuffle past her to check out the situation. Is there any potential that he could help? He still has a fair reserve of magic and not insignificant healing ability.
Yeah, so it's one of those situations where like they've probably already failed all their death saves. They're just not quite. They have like their last breath left. So like short of like the resurrection spell or resurrection magic, they're probably beyond gone.
Aelin's level 10. She can do that.
She could. But I think that Silny probably says it that sends a shiver up your spine. Now, Farron, do you speak Elvish?
I do.
Yeah, so you can hear all this.
Do you speak her horrifying deep Elvish?
Yeah, and so she like looks at the two of you and she says, "The resources are wasted. You should just let him die and then bring him back."
And that's why you're not a doctor.
I think I chime up
with this woman.
and speak in
That's why
Elvish.
you're not a doctor.
I'm a scientist.
Yeah, I speak in Elvish. If you're not going to help productively, then why don't you just leave this to us?
Yeah, I think she kind of like looks at you and she shrugs, and she says in Elvish, but like to Jericho, it's like racial slur, right? For human, insert whatever your heart's content there, but like local racial slur. So like you would know what it is.
Farron might not.
Farron might not. He might. I don't know how many elves he's come in contact with that use racial slurs. Probably not many, to be fair. But yeah, and she said she's just like, you know, the flat ears, they always have too much hope, and then just like continues walking on. Yeah, spoon ears. There you go. Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. Jericho will look between her over to Farron, who is still clearly actually helping. Just say, she's an informant. I'm working on it. Don't worry about it too much, or mention her to anybody yet.
Ever.
Aye, just keep her out of trouble.
That's the plan, says Jericho as he speedily moves to catch up with her.
Yeah. So, Aelin, you only heard that last part of common.
Right. I mean, Aylin's busy giving last rites, but I think that does make her look up and kind of head tilt at Farron.
Yeah.
And just pause to look at him. Say, is there something I should know?
It's fine. Just let's try to finish up this section over here.
Stares for a moment or two longer, and then nods and continues.
There you go. That's what I imagine, Aelin.
Yeah. If there were in the play some stage notes, that's what it would say.
Yeah. Correct. Also, yes, not worth a level 4 slot. Absolutely, 100%. It is like Minion in the Fantasy Flight game Star Wars, where literally they don't matter, and if they do matter, you've done it wrong. I mean, that's how the book basically describes them. So, you know,
Savage.
Yeah. So, you continue traveling with Silni, and eventually, probably like you see riding Jericho. I almost made you the Emperor. You see Cahill riding on his horse, and he doesn't have armor on anymore. But he's got like these kind of like these robes that are kind of pulled up, and you see he's riding with his it's his right shoulder where he was hit, so he's riding with his left hand, which is probably a little
Okay.
well, actually, no, sorry, other way around. He got hit in his left shoulder. He would normally ride with his left hand so that his sword arm was free. But he's riding with his right hand, and is like his left arm is like kind of bunched up against him. And as he rides up, you see Kree also ride up, and you see Hannibal and Morella in pursuit. And you probably see like converging on your location all the different lords and ladies of the council, right? So you see Lord Tenderfoot, the halfling, come like riding up on his little pony, and you see what are the other? I always forget these people's names when we have a long break.
Groundberg and
Groundberg and what else?
Lady. What was her name? There was a lady.
There really is. I have it all written down on one of these. Lady Tolsbeck, and Lady Schwinn as well.
Oh, right, because we made the bicycle joke.
Right, correct. Also, interestingly enough, you see a couple of other people that are kind of like in tow. You see Garthun Haldarim, the High Priest of Mor, is also kind of in the area and in tow. Which, do you remember the lore about Mor? So the Mor is the deity of the
dead.
deity of the dead, but
Right.
the mortal enemy of all priests of Mor are undead,
Right.
and with that, necromancers.
And Priest of Shalia.
You're not wrong.
And
I mean-
yeah, so like there's that, but there's also Lady Luftberg as well, the noble from Nordland, from North. She's also here. And yeah, I think that's the people that are in attendance here, and you're all kind of like in a circle now, seeing as you guys have like basically seats at the table, right, by this point. And you can see there's like a ring of guards that are kind of being formed around you. You're kind of given space in the like entryway of the gate. So really the only people missing from the scene are Farron and Aelin. So what Cahill probably like looks to the others and begins getting like after action reports from everybody. And there are some interesting things, like the High Priest of Mor, Garthun, probably chimes in, and when he talks, he's older, right? He's like in his late 60s. He probably says that the bodies are being disposed of properly, in the ways most suiting to their kind. Like we're letting lizardmen bury their own. We're letting we're burning the demons. And he probably says as well, he's like, we are taking great care to make sure that none of them can be used and turned against us, by consecrating their bodies before anything is done with them. So that's kind of what like the priests of Mor are working on right now, is like making it so that all of the dead can't be immediately turned against you, because that's obviously a big concern when you're fighting undead. And then other reports of people who were in the battle on the bridge mostly. But remember, I don't know if you remember, but Lady was it Lady Tolsbeck? Yeah, Lady Tolsbeck was originally sent with Kree. And she had Kree, if I remember correctly, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, you had sent her back to report to Cahill that the assault was starting, etc., etc.
Yes.
So she's there as well now. So she gives her action report of like the beginning of the fight at the West Gate, and then Kree, you obviously finish up with what the West Gate, what happened there, etc., etc. But they get to your turn, Jericho. What do you say to this council and high-ranking members of the army here?
Yeah.